Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Outta Boston here, and today I'm back for episode 1 of my brand new NBA 2K16 MyLeague series. We are finally firing up some NBA 2K16. So, for my MyLeague, I had to change a couple settings around. I decided to turn trade approval on because the CPU trades in this game are horrible, and I want to control some of the randomness that happens in my MyLeague. And I decided to go with the Brooklyn Nets. I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, why I chose the Brooklyn Nets, but I do have some things I want to address first. So for the draft classes I'm going to be using, I'm going to grab them from Ripken523. I believe I used his draft classes in my last MyLeague series, and I like them a lot. The thing I like about his classes is that he doesn't rate the rookies very highly, which most of the classes you'll find online make the first couple of picks all 80 overall. It's very unrealistic. Rookies quite frequently come into the league and are not that good. So that's why I like Ripken's. I think his are a pretty realistic set. And now I'm showing you off the trade finder here, and I wanted to sort of show off the trade finder options for a couple guys that I might peel off the roster, or that are likely to be peeled off the roster as we go along this season. One of them is Brook Lopez, and the only real interesting Brook Lopez offer I got was from the Bulls. It was that first offer I showed you guys. It was Derrick Rose, and I think we would also get a 2018 first-round pick back, but I think we would have to send like Donald Sloan or Markel Brown or something like that. I don't know what it was, but anyway, so let me talk about why I decided to choose the Brooklyn Nets for my MyLeague series. Now, it's the third straight year I'm doing an Eastern Conference team. This is something I usually wouldn't want to do because I'm a little bit OCD about this kind of stuff, but at the same time, I felt like the opportunity to take over the Nets is an opportunity that I could not pass up because with the new feature in 2K MyLeague this year where they have realistic draft ownership, the Nets are pretty much like in the worst possible scenario you could be in. They just have no assets on their roster. I mean, they really don't have any good young players, no real franchise cornerstone building block type players, and they really don't have a lot of draft picks. We do own the 2017 Celtics first round pick, and then we own our own 2019 first round pick, but we don't own first round picks in 2018 or 2016. So simply put, I went with the Brooklyn Nets because I thought they would be the biggest challenge. But without further ado, here we go with opening night.
It's the 2K Sports pregame show.
One of the guys we're going to see tonight is Brook Lopez. Last season, a little bit of a bumpy ride, and he spent the last few years battling injuries. But he showed he can still be an impact big man, Shaq.
Yeah, Ernie started off slow like you just alluded to, but he was terrific down the stretch. And he got better as the season wore on. Still very versatile. He can score on low posts. He's very, very fundamentally sound. Like this big guy's game.
Yeah, I like his game, but I do want to see his rebounding improve.
Stop
I'm serious. You know what I call a guy who averages under 10 rebounds?
He can't do it all.
He can't be a power forward center if you average under 10 rebounds.
That's because he's running the court. He's running the court.
No, you got to get 10 rebounds or more if you want to do. You got to dominate in the paint. A guy like you telling me he doesn't dominate in the paint, and you don't mind that?
Yeah, you're giving him a pass on that?
You let him to run the floor and stay and shoot jump shots? I cannot believe you didn't just say,
come on,
give
Shaq.
The big man the ball in the paint and let him dominate.
Yeah, let him score.
Right.
Everybody else can get the rebounds.
He say he got to give me 28 and 10.
No,
can't give you a 28 and 10 from shooting jump shots.
I like this guy. 28 and 6 is good for him.
28 and 6.
He'll give you that.
That's
6.
a small forward, not a center.
All right.
6 rebounds.
The tip-off is fast approaching. Let's send it to Kevin Harlan.
So I decided to include that little 2K pregame show clip about Brook Lopez, where Shaquille O'Neal, Kenny Smith, and Ernie Johnson sort of gave their opinions on Lopez as a player. And I thought it was interesting because Brook Lopez is kind of one of the players on this team that, you can sort of go either way with. I mean, we have some guys like Joe Johnson who are clearly like not going to be a part of this team's future. I think Johnson's 34 years old, and by the time he get good again, he's not going to be a productive NBA player. So he's an obvious guy here we're probably going to move on from at some point this season. But Brook Lopez is a little bit more interesting. He just got an extension signed from the team, I believe this summer actually. But me personally, I don't know if I would have given him that extension. And now we sort of have the opportunity where he's got a bit of a big contract and he's sort of an imperfect big man. He doesn't really play the style of basketball that I want to play. And you're going to see in this gameplay the way I like to play basketball, the way I like to play 2K. I like to build my team, and if any of you guys have watched my MyLeague series in years past, you would know this. I build my team with athletic guys, with guys who can shoot, and with guys who can defend. I like to build my team on defense, and I think that always starts with a center. And Brook Lopez sort of doesn't fit the mold that I just described in any way, shape, or form, really. If you think about it, he's sort of a slow, big, prodding guy. He likes the ball in the low post. He likes playing a half-court offense. He likes to slow it down. And, although he can be not a great defensive presence, but, he does average over 2 blocks a game, I believe. I'm not sure if that's for his career, but I know in seasons past he has averaged over 2 blocks a game, so he does have a bit of a defensive presence, but he's not really the type of center that I'm looking for. Now, the big thing about Lopez, though, is he is a dynamic scorer, and I do love a guy who can score in the post, because when it does get down to it and you have to score in the half court, and that happens in every single game where you have possessions where you have to score in the half court, Lopez is a huge asset in those possessions. But at the same time, it's just not really, I mean, you know, maybe it's an idea to keep him on as a power forward, or you know, try to acquire a power forward who fits more of that rim-protecting, athletic big man mold that I wanted in my center. But the thing that really, you know, that I guess the thing for me that sort of makes me lean towards wanting to trade him is the fact that his contract is pretty big now. You know, he's making over $20 million a year, and I'm not sure how the salary cap is going to work in this game. That's one thing I wanted to mention. If you guys have any sliders, both for you know, just the 2K gameplay that you would recommend, or for the MyLeague settings that you would recommend, please let me know in the comment section below, because I'm on the lookout for sliders, like I said, in both gameplay and in the 2K MyLeague settings. And I want to know especially how to work with the salary cap, because, you know, it's going to be interesting to see that the thing I'm not sure 2K is going to deal well with was the fact that all these guys that got paid this past summer in the NBA, they all got paid with the idea of the cap booming in the next couple of years in mind. And first off, I got to talk about this for a second. Look at Lopez snatch this ball out of the air. He absolutely just stole that from Jimmy Butler. And the next time down, Butler gets swatted again by Lopez. I just had to talk about that for a second. I thought that was such a cool play. But anyway, so like I said, Lopez is kind of an interesting guy. We'll see. I think it's going to depend on sort of how he plays this year. I mean, you know, if he has a big breakout year and, you know, he really looks like he's playing well, then I might be more inclined to keep him. I mean, he had a good game today. I think he ended up with 6 blocks, which was pretty impressive. And he had more, I think he had 22 points and maybe 8 rebounds or something like that. Now, the thing about Lopez is he's not a good rebounder. And that is something that, you know, I definitely need a big man who can rebound. I think that's part of what I really want to look for. But at the same time, you know, if you pair him with a power forward who's a really good rebounder, then you can sort of mitigate some of those weaknesses that Lopez has. But I should probably start talking about the gameplay here, because we're already in the third quarter. And we're playing the Chicago Bulls, of course, a rematch from that great playoff series in, what was it, 2013, I want to say. That good 7-game series, had that one triple overtime game. It was a phenomenal series, but we were up 13 points at the end of 3 quarters, actually playing quite well. Really, for the most part, due to Brook Lopez and Joe Johnson. I mean, the two guys that I showcased with the trade finder earlier in the episode, two guys that making me want to keep them the way they're playing this game. Now, of course, I already talked about Johnson sort of being an older player, a guy who is a really obvious trade candidate just because of his age and his contract situation. It is the last year of his deal, so it would make a lot of sense to move on from him at some point this season. But we're up 14 points now. Jimmy Butler, though, pops a 3. He will drain that one, and it's now an 11-point game. Him and Rose played pretty effectively. The one thing that really concerned me about the way we played today was our perimeter defense was not good at all. And now, obviously, you know, Jarrett Jack and Bojan Bogdanovic, excuse me, you know, not guys who I really ever see starting for the title contender version of this Nets team that I want to build. But at the same time, you know, we don't own our first-round pick this year, so we don't really have an incentive to tank or anything. So I'd like to remain as competitive as possible. And you know, it was clear that our perimeter defense is one of the big weaknesses in our team. As I think defense in general is going to be a big weakness for this team, not just on the perimeter, but down low and all that. We played pretty good defense today, though. You're going to see it in the final stats, but we're up by 8 here. Late here comes Lopez on the break. He's going to put us up by 10 now with 2 minutes to play, as it looks like the Nets are ready to seal this one up. But here comes Chicago. Is this going to be Derrick Rose going to the lane? He would draw the foul and knock down both freebies. So it's now an 8-point game, and then Butler's going to miss this shot, but Rose is there for the offensive rebound, and he's going to get fouled once again, and then once again he would make both freebies. So it's a 6-point game. Jack now to Lopez, tries to pump and go to work on Noah, but good defense by Joakim Noah. Rebounded by Gasol, outlet to D. Rose, coming up the court now. Jarrett Jack tries to pick him up, but he feeds it to Dunleavy, back to Rose, down low, great pass to Butler. Foot on the line, that'll be 2, but it's a 4-point game now with 41.8 to play. So the comeback is on for the Bulls here to double team on Jack. He's going to give this one to Walter Tavares, who came into the game for Thad Young, who fouled out. He gives it to Lopez, who misses the bunny. So now a 4-point game. The Bulls here have an opportunity to make it a 1-possession game with 14 seconds to play, but a lot of ball movement. No shots yet for the Bulls. Now the clock dips under 10 seconds. That shot's blocked by Johnson. Now Rose, under 5 seconds to play, finally puts up a shot. It's no good. Rebounded by Gasol, Dunleavy, Butler. One final attempt, but it would not matter. So some really poor late game execution there by the Bulls, and that is going to let the Nets hang on. So the 2015-16 campaign starts out on a note that I didn't think it would. Now, I played this game on Superstar difficulty, so because I won, I think I'll bump it up to Hall of Fame for the next time around, and we'll see how that goes. But take a look at the final stats here. Joe Johnson led the way, 27 and 12, He had 27 points on 13 shots. That was really impressive. Lopez, like I said, good game at him. 22 and 9 with 6 blocks. And then Thad Young also had a double-double, 13 and 11. So good performances out of 3 of our better players there. And on the Bulls side of things, really inefficient nights from Butler. Rose had 22 points on 21 shots. Dunleavy, 12 points on 11 shots. And Pau Gasol, 8 points on 13 shots. So some pretty poor performances there. But either way, and we'll take a look at the team comparison as well. And you can see they shot 41%, we shot 47%. So our defense played pretty well today. I was actually quite impressed. But anyway, that is going to do it. So I'm going to leave you guys with the 2K postgame show. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Ernie
Peace.
Johnson here again with Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny Smith. Without further ado, let's present to you our Jordan player of the game, Joe Johnson.
You talk about Joe Johnson, and you're talking about a solid pro, a guy who's been a great player for a long time. So I'd like to see him bust out with these kind of incredible performances. Sometimes he's been maligned in the press, but this guy delivers at big moments. Way to go, Joe.
Just a sensational performance on a lot of levels, Ernie. Too many levels to talk about. Man, in some game, he's in the background. He doesn't get the chance to be the star of the show, but not tonight. He's the star tonight. Put him on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
And that'll do it for tonight. For Kenny Smith, Shaquille O'Neal, Kevin Harlan, and our illustrious 2K Sports crew, this is Ernie Johnson. Have a good night, everybody.